What's up, guys? I feel like it's time to make a rant. You probably know what the rant is gonna be about. The Object 268 version 4, or as I like to call it, the Bobject. The simple tank. The tank that every fucking tool can pick up and increase their win rate by at least 10%, increase their damage done per game by around 25 to 40%, depends on the player, of course. Very simple, very balanced, not overpowered at all. Bobject version 4. So if you live on a different planet, or you don't play tier 10, or you stop playing bullet tanks, I don't blame you. Let me fill you in on some statistics. So these are gathered on VB Addict, because obviously Wargaming wouldn't disclose any official statistics, because that would make them look incredibly stupid and incompetent. So let me make them look incredibly stupid and incompetent. So the Object 268 version 4 is rocking a solid 57.25% win rate. Then we have the Object 907 with 56.66, VK7201K with 55.50, and Object 260 with 53.02. The thing is, though, that all of those tanks are played significantly less by significantly more skilled players, because in order to get any of those next tanks, you need to be played either Clan Wars or you needed to finish all 3 sets of missions. And that actually takes on average, a much better player than the average World of Tanks player. The average World of Tanks player does not finish all 3 sets of missions and does not play Clan Wars well enough to receive any of the reward tanks. However, that average player is averaging 57.25% win rate in the Object 268 version 4, because every average Bob can get the Bobject and just bob their way to 57% win rate. It is absolutely insanely overpowered, and the fact that it's still in the game and hasn't been changed for this long is just pathetic and just shows how little Wargaming give a shit about their players and the health of their game. And furthermore, the response that we have been getting from Wargaming, believe it or not, I mean, there's many of different sources, is that the response to the Object 268 version 4 has been positive and negative, which means that it is a well-balanced vehicle and we do not plan to nerf it in near future, which is just so obscenely fucking stupid. I mean, clearly these people are trolling, right? They're either malicious or they're just trolling, right? They cannot be serious with this. So what do I mean by malicious? So there's this idea that there's always need to be a flavor of the year or the month tank in tier 10. So everybody would be like, encouraged to grind up to their Bobject, to start clubbing seals and improving their win rate massively by just queuing up in a clearly better tank than anything else that tier 10 has to offer. And it's a pretty solid actually theory that Wargaming is just, they don't give a shit about the health of the tier 10s. They only care about people free XPing and giving them money for, getting the next OP thing, and then a year later they'll nerf it and there'll be a new power creep thing. That kind of has been an occurrence in tier 10 for quite a while now. But what makes this tank so much worse than anything else we have seen before is that there is the 357 matchmaking in the game, and if there's 357 and you are in a Bobject and the enemy team doesn't have a Bobject, you have won already. Unless your team literally drives backwards, you're gonna just carry and win the game. In 357, if you don't win in the Bobject, you're a terrible player. That's as simple as that, unless the enemy team also has a Bobject. That's the only canceling factor. The only thing that can counter the Bobject is another Bobject. So, literally, 357 tier 10 games come down to which team has more Bobjects or which team has Bobjects, and that has never happened before. When you have the E5, generally tier 10s, you didn't ever really see 357 or anything like that. There were always more tier 10s, and then it kind of balances out more or less. It never really balances out, but it's not as awful as it is now. Also, haha, блять, I ram you for fucking 533, блять, сука. I learned a thing or two about how Wargaming listens to their community feedback, and they generally don't, unless you call out Victor's son or call Wargaming a bag of dicks. So listen up, you bag of dicks, especially you, Victor. Your game is bleeding players right now. 1.0 was a good band-aid, but gameplay always beats out graphics, and gameplay at tier 10 has not really ever been any worse than it is now. Thanks to 357 matchmaking, thanks to this abysmally overpowered tank, thanks to all of these heavies that are completely unbeatable and dumb down the gameplay to almost shooting HE at each other. You need to take a deep look at people working on this game, and you need to sack the ones responsible for the direction this game has been going lately, because this game could be so much better if we didn't have to bother with tanks like Object 268 version 4, if we didn't have to deal with the power creep of the month and shit like that. Or maybe it's just me talking out of my ass. Maybe everybody loves it. Maybe the future of World of Tanks is literally queuing up in the best tank, the flavor of the year tank, every game, rocking that 57% win rate in that tank and 47 in every other tank. Maybe that is what this game needs and what it's gonna become. Maybe it's just me. I feel like there is some community standing behind me and what I feel like about your game, but maybe it's just me, so, you know, it's just some asshole on YouTube. Don't listen to him. It's absolutely fine. We're doing fucking great, right? Apart from all those players who are leaving, of course. I hope you guys enjoyed my rant, and I'll see you on the next one.